Um, Namaste. We've had a few questions from some Aaiyanists over the holiday period. So to ease into this year, I'll do a couple of podcasts answering some questions, general questions on spirituality and other matters. So anyway, I'll just jump straight into it. The first question is from Jude. Not sure where Jude's from, but the question is this: can I light on any Indian invocation incense or any other incense when summoning spirits from locusts and talas? Is it permissible, and can it fasten the appearance of the spirit? So the simple answer to that question is yes, you can. Anything that helps with the attunement process is permissible. You can use any modern Indian incense to allow your senses to become heightened. Your psychic and mental state senses can also be heightened by incense as well. So incense basically has a particular vibrational field that surrounds it and also the user and the general sort of surrounding area, and as such can help unlock the doors to various portals or realms, which are talas and lokas, as most Aaiyanists know. But if you're a new YouTube listener watching this, the question was, so we go back to the question. So, can I light on any Indian invocation incense when summoning spirits from lokas and talas? So you'd summon positive spirits from a loka, positive dimension, and a negative spirit, a demon, for example, from a tala. Yes. So yeah, incense has a particular vibrational field that surrounds it, and also the user, as I mentioned, and it can help open the doors to various portals or realms. And this fact was basically known by all the ancient humans, and it's still actually continued known throughout the ages. Even in this modern era, people use incense for spiritual matters, not just Aaiyanists but other faiths as well. So if you, Jude, that is who wrote the question, if you have any inclination to use incense now, it possibly means that you did use it in the past, in your previous incarnations, unless your spirit, your spiritual memory, is telling yourself to allow your mind to get back to that previous existence, by basically using the incense to recapture your, how can I put this, your ancient memories. Yeah. So you're basically, so your inclination to use incense means that you used it in the past incarnations, and you're just reverting back to that previous memory. So, yeah, how can I put this in a simple fashion? Basically, you're retraining your mind to click back into the correct mindset, and your innate spirit will basically guide you in this act. So it's a retraining. It's a remembrance of what you used to do. So that, as all Aaiyanists know, the subconscious mind has a deep link to your spiritual memories, and that locus space of Kaskinaiyyan, if you recall, is able to access the deepest and most ancient of your memories. I think I did do a podcast on the Kaskinaiyyan loka, but it was not available anymore. I believe the transcript is on the Patreon site. I think, well, I do know there's the high quality image of the Kaskinaiyyan yantra on the Patreon site if you want to look at that. There's also a good blog post from over the holiday period. I was surfing the web, as you say, and I was just finding other Aaiyyanist material, and there was a good blog post on the Kaskinaiyyan locale by Sylvia, so a very high-ranking Aaiyyanist out there. Yeah, and so I'll actually ask the admins to put a link to that blog post in the description. I thought that's quite useful. Okay, so let's go back to the thing. So as I mentioned earlier, many ancient cultures used incense in their religious festivals, and this is because there's some commonality between all humans. We all come from one source, and in the ancient times we were also much closer to the spiritual world than we are now. That's obviously changed a bit, partly due to the blocking action of the demonic entity Surapadman, and partly due to other reasons, which I won't get into now, but I best not get into, but confuse people and scare people. But anyway, so this is why incense is used in so many different ancient religious festivals, not just in India but around the world, and from the Middle East, South America. There's shamans in Northern Europe as well, and also South America. You have shamans. So to finally answer the question, yes, you can use ritual incense in your rituals, basically. So obviously the very most ancient Aaiyanists, the Murugan worshippers, hundreds of thousands of years ago in the land that is now Tamil Nadu, didn't actually have modern incense we have these days with bamboo sticks. Yeah, I mean, most incense is bamboo sticks infused with some sweet-smelling material or fragrance. The ancient Aaiyanists used a traditional tree resins such as Kaskinaiyyan, sorry, there's two pronunciations of that, Kaskinaiyyan and the Kaskinaiyyan. It has been pronounced Kashkin as well, but I'd say Kaskinaiyyan. So the Kaskinaiyyan resin, if you say it quickly, that's how most people would say it. Most Aaiyanists would say it anyway. The Kaskinaiyyan resin, which is slow burned anyway. It's a tree resin. Some Aaiyanists also use the Guggul tree resin as well, and also the Sal tree resin if they don't have access to the Kaskinaiyyan resin. Guggul's quite sweet, well, according to my limited senses, and the Sal is also quite musky and complex. So, well, I think so. And other Aaiyanists groups have similar opinions of those two fragrances. So, of resins when you slow burn them. So you can achieve the same effect of the Kaskinaiyyan resin by blending both of those. Though it is said that the spiritual, what's the word I'm looking for, efficacy may be lessened if you mix Sal compared to Kaskinaiyyan. You're not comparing like and like anyway. But that's subjective anyway. Yeah. So remember to only do this, use incense, if you're attuned to using incense. In other words, how can I put this? If you hear me speaking about this incense and the smells and the musks and everything, and that ancient memory comes back to you when you practice the rituals and burn the incense, then immediately go forth and do it. Because that is the sort of the trigger, the key to unlocking the wider spiritual mindset. Okay, before I get into trouble though, I don't know if the Iron World Foundation or maybe some other Aaiyanists groups can supply you with incense, but you can easily just buy it online. So I think by Google and Sal online, and Sandalwood's also another good one. But I'll leave it to you to find your own paths in this this fragrant world of incense. It's not, how can I put it? It's not critical, but it's good to unlock the doors and also unlock your ancient memories. So, yeah, so that's that about incense. So I was also going to speak about, there's been lots of other questions as well. Okay, about the reversal of Yantras, or the mirroring of Yantras. So this is a different subject question now, so the incense has been done. So there's been questions about Yantras and reversing of Yantras and mirroring Yantras from a few Aaiyanists in the last few months or so. I'll only speak briefly about this topic, just to clarify some things. Now, there are some Yantras to lokas that can be reversed or mirrored to open their respective talas, such as the Purlian Yantra. So if you recall, this is the Yantra, sort of the symbolic images, to open up the dimension to bring about peace on a grand scale, like world peace, for example. But its mirror of the Purlian Yantra, the mirror image of it, brings about destruction by the Tala space. And this is basically what was used in the Kaskinaiyyan incident. The Kaskinaiyyan uses this ancient ritual of decimation. Yeah, well, it's not 1 in 10. It was 90% of people were killed in order to become one with Om. If you recall, the Kalaiyans performed a blood ritual, reversing the Purlian Yantra to open the respective Tala. So yes, what I'm trying to say is that some Yantras can be mirrored, some Yantras to lokas can be mirrored to open the Talas, but other Yantras have the action or the properties of acting on yourself, such as the Karuvuyan or the Karuviyan loka, and that's to heal aspects of the face. There's various pronunciations which depends on your school of thought of how you say things. I know most eyes would say the Karuviyan, but Karikata say Karuvuyan as well. But anyway, that's another subject. Yeah, the Karuviyan Yantra opens the loka to heal aspects of the face, the inner spiritual beauty of someone. And by mirroring the Yantra, you can either heal yourself or heal someone else. But there's also a disclaimer on this fact, which I'll just clarify. Some Aaiyanists believe that these symbols are to be reversed or mirrored to heal others rather than yourself. But this is basically a question of attunement. This is described in the frequently asked questions of the Healer's Manual, Aaiyanists Healer's Manuals, if you read that. And I'll ask Yasmin to put a link to that in the description as well. So by mirroring the Yantra, you can heal yourself or heal others, but some Aaiyanists believe that it's irrelevant how you mirror these healing Yantras, depending on your attunement. I should actually draw a diagram of how it all fits together, actually. Instead of you, the person, drawing the Yantra as another thing here, and then the dimension over here somewhere, my hand over here, it's think of it as you in the center and the Yantra surrounding you, and you're sort of like the, what's the word, source. You're like the translation of the transcriber of how the Yantra is interpreted. So by mirroring it or reversing it, you can either heal yourself or others, or it may have no effect depending on your attunement. Anyway, but that's all. There's a description of that in the FAQ. So I'll ask the admins to put a link to that as well. And there's also other lokas, Yantras, such as the Kaskinaiyyan loka, the one to remember your previous lives, or to inscribe memories into your spiritual diary via the Kaskinaiyyan loka, the dimension that resides in your memories. And this is done by mirroring the Kaskinaiyyan yantra. So that's a case where you write the yantra to recall your previous incarnation memories, your previous memories for your previous lives, or you can write new memories by mirroring it. So there's three different ways basically which I've described. Yeah, so in some ways you can see there are yantras, and they're the mirror of yantras, and they can be either be a lokatala yantra for yourself or for others, or a yantra to act from the lokatala to the lokatala or to yourself. So in other words, transfer of energy and matter from the dimension to yourself or from yourself to the dimension. So I hope you understand that. So let's read that again. I know it's a bit complicated. I'm just rambling on without any. We'll obviously this transcript will be put into the sort of shorthanded transcript of this will be put into the Patreon site so people will read it at their own leisure. But so let's summarize what I just said. There's yantras and the mirrors of yantras, and they can either be a loka to tala or tala to loka, so if you mirror it, or they can be a loka tala for yourself, or a loka tala for others, depending on if you mirror or reverse it, or a yantra to act from the lokatala space to yourself, or from yourself to the lokatala dimension. So in other words, transferring energy from yourself to the dimension, or from the dimension to yourself. Or there may be no effect at all. So that's actually the fourth scenario. In fact, there's many scenarios. This is actually the definitive list of reverse mirror actions, and there can actually be many. But the idea you should take away is this: not all mirroring acts are the same. And if we, the Iron World Foundation, or any other Aaiyyanist groups out there introduce a yantra to you, they speak of it, then any mirroring action will be explained, if there is any action, that is. Well, actually, we can't really speak for other Aaiyyanist groups, but usually the yantra will be explained and described if there is a mirroring effect. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I haven't confused everyone even more. I've confused myself even more now. I'll review this and we find something else. So actually, you can have a yantra and a reverse mirror to it, and it may do something to you, yourself, or the dimension, or have another action, or may do nothing and be interchangeable. So that's basically that. So an Aaiyyanist should be able to explain these to you, possibly better than I can. So if you should contact them, they'll talk to you about it. More importantly, though, as you do this work, you should also sense your resonance with it. So you should know. Obviously, not all humans are the same, and some are highly adept. Yes, there is a caveat to this. Like, for example, some highly adept tantric schools, people open the effective tala when they draw the loka, but that is basically due to their attunement and how their being is structured in this universe. As I mentioned before, it's yourself surrounded by the yantra, which translates to the wider dimension, and it's that sort of translation due to their attunement that is the important thing. So a high-level tantric person may draw a loka, but actually be more attuned to the tala. But this is this is like an edge case, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. It's basically because, well, this is another topic in itself. It's basically because their actual being is mirrored, rather than like most people are actually straightforward. So there are tantric Aaiyanists who are mirrors of the universe, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I guess some Aaiyanists listening to this may realize that as well. But I won't get into too much of that topic. More questions will lead to more questions. I guess it's good, but I'm trying to keep it simple, basically. So different Ionists. Every person is different in this universe, and some people are spiritual mirrors of other people, especially if they're tantrically adept and then they sort of flip themselves. But that's like a high level topic for another day, I guess. Maybe another year. Anyway, so I'll move on to another question now. I'm not sure who this is from, but I'll just read it. Namaste. Please kindly give a comprehensive answer to my following queries. After chanting Ayani, Lavelian, Getisaman mantras for more than 500 times required to summon the spirit, I didn't feel his presence in the room, but I felt goosebumps on my body. So yeah, that's good. You're actually beginning to become attuned to his tala. So what you're effectively saying is that you didn't feel his presence, but in fact you did. So this is basically a question of recognition. You haven't been trained yet to recognize what you're feeling or seeing. So keep it up is the basic answer to that. You shouldn't really expect to suddenly face Lavelian Getisaman just by chanting the mantra and drawing the yantra for a few days. No, this is a long-term endeavor. There have actually been many Ionists many new Ionists that is, who have emailed me and the Iron World Foundation. Well, actually, they mainly emailed the Iron World Foundation. I've been on duty there for a few days and seen some emails. To say they've actually had much success with these actions of summoning Getisaman and others. So you just need to be patient, really. So you're almost there. So you've what was the question again? You didn't feel his presence, but you felt goosebumps. So it's just a question of recognition. You have to basically you are feeling it, but it's you need to sort of open your eyes or open your senses more. So continue on the letter. Oh, actually, yeah, he's continuing on the letter. So could the feeling of goosebumps mean his presence was already in the room, or a sign that I've succeeded in opening the tala? Yeah, it does basically. It does mean that. It's like riding a bicycle or looking at what are those things called again? Those images, stereograms, I think they're called. Those images that suddenly become three-dimensional once you look at it for a while. Basically, once you see it, everything will click into place. Yeah, it's like riding a bicycle, or suddenly everything comes into focus, and you understand that you can feel the entity, the spirit around you. Okay, I'll continue reading the letter, and it's not a letter, this one. Is there anything I can do to aid me in operating the dimension quickly without delays? Yeah, Ionism, it doesn't really work that way. Ionism is patience. Again, taught us that. So actually, there's another good article about this by the high level Iony Sivan O'Dyan on this subject, and I'll ask the admins to link to it in the description again. Yeah, as you can tell, I've been busy looking at his blog for the last few days, and it's very interesting. I think Sivan may be back to posting later this year, as it happens. We shall see. Yeah, everyone's always very busy in the Iron World Foundation. So, but I'll paraphrase some of the blog post comments here. So in the blog it says, one of the greatest virtues of Ionism is patience. This is prized by all Ionist groups and schools around the world. It is the act of patience that defines you and shows us that you are grounded in the long term. In other words, you must perceive time in terms of years and many lifetimes, as this is usually the time scale before you achieve oneness. many people in this world, many people in this modern world think in terms of the present or the near future. The perfected Aaiyyanist is a universal timeless being that should think in terms of aeons and millennia. Okay, that's nice to put. Anyway, yeah, you should check out that blog and check out other Aaiyyanist materials out there, not just from the Iron World Foundation. As I mentioned, there's the Aaiyyanist group. The Aaiyyanist group will also do some new apps later this year as well. Anyway, so that is a good place to end. I'll answer some more questions in a later podcast from other Aaiyanists. There was one Aayanist, Matt, who sent a question in, and I'll try and answer that later in the next few days. Okay, so I shall speak to you soon. Bye now.